Story of the Queen Bee. Once upon a time, there was a poor student named C. He lives with his old mother. He wanted to get married so that his wife could help with housework and take care of his elderly mother, but when he asked a few people, they saw that his family was always short of food, so they all shook their heads and refused. Therefore, he still has to live alone with his job as a firewood collector. Every day, early in the morning, he goes to the forest to cut firewood and bring it to the market to sell. In the afternoon, after eating, he picked up the book. Just like that until the day he learned successfully. At that time, the king opened an exam in the capital to select talented people. The candidates raced to prepare money, rice, tents and mats to enter the competition. In his heart, C was also eager to compete in the field of literature and writing, but his family's financial resources were too poor. He did not know what to use to support his elderly mother during her absence, and had nothing to spend along the way. When the exam was coming up, several of his friends took turns having their period without inviting him. C tried to run around in several places, but to no avail. Only later did a few kind neighbors take care of his elderly mother so he could leave with peace of mind. And then he finally took the risk and set out on the road, even though he didn't have a penny or a word in his back. At first he carried goods for merchants. Working as hard as he could for 2 days, he received food and a salary from them. If he had trouble, he would continue walking. After 2 days of spending very sparingly, the newly earned money was gone. Even so, he still did not stop, hoping to find a job along the way. But unfortunately, it was raining that day and no one was hiring. Since school started in just 3 days, he couldn't linger. I had to keep my head down and take a risk while not having a single grain in my stomach. It was late afternoon when he went to a dense forest. While walking slowly, hoping to find a motel, he got lost. He wandered around in the middle of the dark night in the bushes without hearing a single sound of a rooster crowing or a dog barking. Finally, hungry, cold, and tired, he climbed an old tree, intending to find a place to rest. Luckily, when I climbed up to the 3rd branch, I suddenly saw a light on the left side. Feeling excited, he quickly climbed down in that direction. Just a moment, he stood in front of a small thatched house. He nervously called the door, and was surprised to see the door open immediately as if someone was waiting. A girl walked out holding a wax lamp. Under the light, C clearly saw the girl's pretty face, but her eyes were blind. She said, "Hello, teacher. I have been waiting for you for a long time. Teacher, please come in here." Listening to his master's words, C no longer had a soul. How did this blind girl know that she was a student and was waiting for her? Only evil goblins who are setting traps to catch their prey can do that. C was very hesitant, but his stomach and health did not allow him to walk anywhere anymore. He boldly entered the house, not forgetting to guard against any surprises that might happen. In the house, besides the girl, there is also an old man. After inviting C to sit, the girl told the old man to bring the fire to the guests to dry their clothes. As soon as C felt dry and cozy, the old man brought up a tray of rice, and a blind girl followed. And invited him, "My house is frugal and has nothing. Please, teacher, just be honest." C was skeptical at first and didn't dare touch his chopsticks. But later, hunger overcame everything. He took the bowl and tried a bite, seeing that it didn't look any different, so he started eating. The meal was indeed frugal, but the hot rice and sauce made him feel more delicious than ever. After eating, the old man cleaned the straw bed and spread out mats for guests to lie on. C was so tired, he lay down but did not dare to sleep, deliberately watching to see what tricks the devil was still playing. But in just a moment he dozed off and fell asleep. At midnight, he suddenly woke up with a start. The stormy wind blows more and more heavily. Occasionally the sky roared violently. He heard the girl say, "Dad, the wind has changed to the north. It hisses too hard, right? The small nest on the third branch has collapsed. Let's try it out." C was very surprised that the blind girl spoke like a fully sighted person. He was thinking idly when he suddenly fell asleep. Not long after, the wind blew stronger as if it wanted to lift the roof of the house. C woke up again. This time he heard the girl's voice outside the house. "Dad, if the wind is this strong, they will probably get lost a lot. But it's okay, tomorrow they'll all come back. In the 7th cabinet, there are many children waiting but haven't been able to enter yet." Immediately, C heard the sound of the old man's hat rattling out of the garden. The storm is still fierce. He sat up and walked to the door. Through the lightning, C saw the blind girl standing under a tree with branches and leaves spreading out like a canopy. On the low branches at the base, yellow bees swarmed, landing on the girl's hat and shirt. There are countless yellow bees and baby bees flying. The buzzing sound of bees almost drowned out the sound of the storm. While the girl and the old man were working outside, C went back inside, still doubtful in his heart. On the desk at the top of the straw bed, the candle is still burning. Saw a book. C quickly opened it to see. It turns out the book is about Buddhism. He picked it up and read it very engrossed. By early morning, the storm had begun to subside, and the girl and the old woman entered the house. C closed the book and asked, "I got lost. Thank you and the old man for giving me food and rest. But one thing I find difficult to understand is why two people live alone in this forest. How can I support myself living like that? How did you know I was coming here and even know I was taking the exam? Etc. I really hope to clarify those things before leaving this place." The girl replied, "This house was originally my mother's teacher's house. My teacher and concubine used to be a mandarin. Because he hated the mandarins, he returned home and came to this forest to live by raising bees. 3 years ago, my teacher and my mother passed away, leaving me alone with my father and the bees. The bees give honey and wax, and the old pots take them to the market to exchange for rice. My eyes suddenly hurt and became damaged. Even though I'm blind, my intuition knows everything. Suddenly I feel that the bees are in trouble, then they are in trouble. Like yesterday, I felt that there was a scholar taking the exam who missed the mark and needed help. I had just turned on the lamp when I heard the lockmaster knocking on the door. That book on the table was left by my teacher. So please read it. But the course teacher is not in a hurry. There are 7 days left to start the exam." Hearing that, C felt sorry for the blind girl whose situation was even more difficult than his own. He held the book and read until morning. Remembering the exam day, he said goodbye to the girl and the old man and left. Seeing that the invitation was not successful, The girl gave him a ball of rice and a denarii of money. C quickly returned the money and only accepted the rice ball and said, "Thank you," and the old man. "If I get glory in the future, I will never forget her and her golden hearts." The next afternoon, arriving at the capital, C was startled to hear that because the emperor was afraid, the exam was postponed for another 5 days, just as the girl had said. In that year's exam, the king introduced an essay title with many examples of Buddhism. His friends in his hometown as well as scholars from all over the world were eliminated because they had not read Buddhist books. There are people who make it to high school and fail. Only C, thanks to accidentally reading the book in the middle of a stormy night at the blind girl's house, answered fluently. When he passed his doctorate, the king gave him money, a crown, a flag, and soldiers to honor him. On the way back to his hometown, he planned to turn into the forest where the blind girl's house kept bees to give thanks. But when the honorary group just stepped onto the pass, C caught a glimpse of a girl with dark eyes waiting at the top of the pass. Her hands carried a basket of flowers. On her shirt, yellow bees clung tightly like brocade. C remembered the stormy night when he stood in the house and looked out, seeing the blind girl being clung to by bees like that. This is the beekeeping girl right here. But why aren't her eyes blind? C quickly got off the stretcher and ran to pick up the girl. He said immediately, "This is the beekeeping girl, right? But who magically made her eyes bright again? Oh! If it weren't for the book my teacher left behind, I would be as ruined as most of my friends. I don't know how to thank her enough." The girl replied, "Thanks to the queen bee, I was able to suck the magic stamens and release them into my eyes, causing my eyes to open again. This morning, I felt that the new graduate was about to return, so I hurriedly went to pick him up here." The girl looked at C with red cheeks. After that, C and his entourage went to the girl's small house. After staying here for a few days, C took the girl and the old man back to his hometown. He asked his mother's permission to marry the beekeeper. The grand bride procession started from the forest, with flags, fans, gongs and drums loudly. Especially the golden bees hold a flower each and fly above their queen, as beautiful as a 5-colored cloud. 1. According to the 7th novel number 335, 1940. And the good kind of fairy tale? Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.